Let me show you this. So this is the first batch. I had just poured it from this bucket here. You can see it's all liquid. And there, that's it. It's all liquid. Fish, bones, everything was eaten up by the microbes. And it is 100% liquid. So we are getting very few solids to strain off, which is going to be nice. Now this next batch here, when we're going to mix these together, we had this batch here from April of last year. We decanted some of that back in the fall, and passed some off to our daughter, and we've been using a little bit here and there. So now this one looks a little different. This one has like a scum or a film on the top. So let's see what it looks like when we pour it off, how much solids are left there. But we're going to go ahead and pour that into this same bucket. Let's just do this first. We're going to see how many solids we got here. And very, very little. It's draining right through there. You know, there's some really fines, but you can kind of see how little there is in that bag at the bottom. And there's still a lot of liquid that's going to come through. So this is the 5-gallon bucket we're using here. I don't know if this is all going to fit in there, but we'll see what happens. It might be pretty darn close. So here we go. Very dark, very rich. Yeah, there's definitely something on top there. Look at that. Okay, so we threw in some shrimp tails at one point. Probably heads and tails. See, there's definitely some solids left in there that it didn't quite finish the process. And definitely some solids there. I'm not going to let those solids go to waste. I put those straight into the compost bin. What we got to do now is strain this off. So let's see how this goes. So you would think that this would be just the nastiest smelling stuff, and it's not. I mean, it's not like smelling roses. Yeah, not like smelling roses, but it is bearable. It's not too bad. So, yeah, we've kind of got that. We've got a nice bucket full here. You can see in there, it's a very dark liquid. It's got a little bit of foam to it. And I would say on that 5-gallon bucket, we got 3.5 gallons, easy. There's probably another half gallon to 3/4 of a gallon in this other bucket here with the shrimp tails and all the other stuff. And that may go ahead and settle out just a little bit yet. We may get some more out of that. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and drain it into this other bucket. You wouldn't want to take a bath in it, that's for sure, but So it's still draining off some stuff. So we'll swirl this around here. We'll go ahead. It's got the solids mixed up in there, and then we're going to go ahead and pour it in there. Got most everything out of there. We'll let that drain down. We'll see how much more we get out of it. Expect we'll get another quart maybe or so out of it at least. So that'll be nice. And yeah, this stuff is awesome fertilizer. It's about an NPK ratio of 2:3:2. But ideally what this is for is this takes all the micronutrients and so forth of the fish, all the minerals in the bones and the oil of the fish, and converts it into a bioavailable fertilizer for the soil. We're really feeding the soil here and not the plants. We're giving the soil microbes what they need to flourish, and then that in turn feeds the plants. That's the proper way to do it. That's the way God meant it to be done. So the second bucket that we did was from 9/13/24. So 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, so 6 months, a little bit over 6 months for that batch. And so yeah, we can see that 11 months, everything was totally, 99% broken down. At 6 months, we had, I'm gonna guess, really, I can't recognize any of the fish in there. And in both batches, we used mackerel. The second batch, we did put some shrimp tails in there and some heads. The shrimp tails and heads, I can still recognize. Those didn't break down. Now, interesting about that is that I put those in later. So I probably put those in, I don't know, maybe a couple of months later, probably around Thanksgiving time or so. I think is when we had shrimp right before Thanksgiving there. And so it wasn't there for the initial breakdown. It wasn't there. So maybe the microbes that initially break the bigger stuff down weren't there. I don't know. Maybe they had already passed on. Yeah, interesting to see, because I wouldn't think that the shrimp tails and so forth would be much different than the bones of the fish. But maybe it is. Maybe it was just the timing of putting them in later. So yeah, well, thank you for watching, and we're going to now put it into some bottles or into some jugs, and we should have enough. So this stuff, if we have 3.5 gallons here, we might end up with 4 when we're all done. You know what, that's 500 ounces. So yeah, that'd be about 500 ounces. And this is the rate you put out at about 1 to 2 ounces per gallon of water as a foliar spray. You can do a root drench a little bit heavier. You can go up to about 4, not ounces, I'm sorry, tablespoons per gallon. So 1 to 2 for a foliar drench, 2 to 4 for a soil drench. You do that about every 1 to 3 weeks, and that's going to be some of the best fertilizer that you have. So, shoot, that is a lot of fertilizer. That'll be about 500 gallons at least. So I'll have to check my math on that, on how many tablespoons are in an ounce. I know there's 3 teaspoons. I think there's 2 or 3 tablespoons in an ounce. I don't remember. I think it's 2 tablespoons per ounce. So if that's 2 tablespoons per ounce, and that's 500, yeah, 500 gallons of fertilizer here. So, and we've already got some that we bottled up. We probably have another, I think about 70 or 80 ounces in there already bottled up. So yeah, so here, this is the fish hydrolysate in the bottle here. See how dark and chocolatey that mixture is. It's not chocolate by any means, but yeah, we bottled this off on 11/26/24. So right there at Thanksgiving time. It was 6 weeks old at the time. So yeah, we just strained it off. At that time, you could still see that there were fish and so forth in there. But yeah, that's some really good stuff. We got a couple of these. This is 48 ounces. And we got another one. So we haven't even taken anything out of the other one yet. So, all right. So that's going to be some nice fertilizer. And let us know if you have any questions. All right, so here we are. We just emptied out that bucket that it was straining into. We've got it over here now. So you can hear it still dripping in there. And so we're going to start decanting this here. We got 5 milk jugs there. I don't think we're going to need all 5, but we're going to go ahead and start pouring it off. And hopefully we're not going to make too much of a mess. See if we can get you in the picture here. Oh, let's see what we got here. All right, I just went to get a stir stick just to make sure we're keeping this stuff stirred up nicely. Well, that's 3 and maybe a quarter gallons, and we're still draining off over here, so we'll see how that goes. But it doesn't look like much is coming off of there. Might get up to 3.5 gallons. We'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, so here we are. I did look up, and we have 1 tablespoon equals 1/2 US ounce. So, at a rate of 2 tablespoons per gallon, yes, we're going to have, with 4 gallons, which is probably what we're going to get, maybe a little bit better than 4 gallons out of all of this, we will have over 500 gallons of liquid fertilizer to use for this year. So, that's going to be quite a bit. We'll probably apply it at a rate, similar to that, 2 tablespoons, and we'll do per gallon, and we'll probably do that about once every 2 weeks during the growing season, and we're going to see how that works out. We've already watered the vegetables here with it, and we've done a couple spots in the lawn just to see how that does. We are not adding any fertilizer to our lawn, but we are trying a couple of things. We tried some horse manure compost, 2 years old, in a couple of spots to see how that does, and I think I'm starting to see some notice there. It's been about 2.5 weeks since we've done that, so starting to see that that area is a little bit greener, and so excited to see about that, because that was a good source that we found. We told you about that. It's a little bit of a drive away, but it's good, clean stuff. It is definitely going to be beneficial for us, even though it's a little bit of work to get. And so now we've tried a couple of spots of this out on the lawn at a couple of different rates to see how much the rate difference makes if we use 2 ounces or we use 4 ounces. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully we'll see something here in a couple, 3 weeks, and we'll know how beneficial this stuff's going to be. But yeah, I think it's going to be some really good stuff. So excited to use it, and hopefully you guys might try this out too. All right. Talk to you later. Real and Raw out.